sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Ooh, that's the quickest turnaround I've done. Good afternoon, and welcome to this Elite FPL stream with myself, Steve-O, where we will be covering, and when I say we've got Dan here, we will be covering Gameweek 6 fixtures, essentially just going a bit more deeper into the real life aspects of the game rather than the actual fantasy itself. But obviously we tie it in with fantasy and everything, and I'm really looking forward to it because everybody, I've got my notes. These are actually notes on the games from essentially the highlights that I watched this morning, all 10 of the highlights and everything. I've written my notes down. All the questions are going to be asked for Dan. I don't have to speak. And talking to Dan, let's bring him on. Hello, Dan.
Good afternoon, Steve-O. Good afternoon, everyone. How are we all getting on?
Oh, well, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to a certain game. But yes, everybody, it's been a bit of a weird game week for all. Before we get started, Dan, your opinion on overall from a fantasy football perspective on game week 6?
Yes, like you said, it's been a bit of a weird one. Personally, I'm content with my own score. like the average game week score this game week was 48 points. So obviously it was completely different to game week 5. Started with some. We will go through all the games, I know, but there were some strange results, but there were also some more normal results in comparison to the crazy way that the season started, really. So yeah, it's been an interesting one.
Yeah, it has been, and well, let's just kick it off straight away. We kicked off on Friday evening. It was Aston Villa versus Leeds. I'll straight away. Grealish looked lively, didn't he?
He did, yeah, he did. He was really unlucky not to score. Shot cleared off the line, but I did favour Villa to win that one. I did predict that Villa will win, but yeah, Leeds blew them away. Really, I mean, I've got Martinez. I think you've still got Martinez, and he made several saves in that game. Still got points for that, but still conceded 3. And Bamford is looking very good, particularly away from home as well.
Yeah, from a fantasy football perspective, I have to say that I'm absolutely fuming that I've got 3 Aston bloody Villa players, Martinez, Thier and friggin' Davis, because I'm in a flaming predicament where if I didn't have one of those players, let's just say for argument's sake Davis, and had Brewster in, I would just do Grealish, Foden to Grealish. I would do it immediately, but I can't without taking a blasted hit. And I've got many transfer dilemmas that I've got in my diary about what I want to do and stuff, and I really am begrudgingly going to have to possibly do a hit this week, but I really don't know. But Aston Villa for me were very unlucky, but you got Bamford scores a flaming hat-trick. He's got a wonder goal in that particular fixture. Bamford one to watch, or do you just think that, look, he's been presented these chances so easily that he's just basically taking the opportunities and scoring at the moment?
Well, it is interesting in that particular price bracket. What is he, 5.8?
That's right, yeah.
And yeah, I was just looking at some of the away fixtures coming up over the next few game weeks, and they've got Palace away, Everton away, Chelsea away. So they are, in my mind, reading those fixtures out, they are quite tough games. So I wouldn't be so sure. But in that particular, who else have you got? You've got Mitrovic. Who's not really done much this season. Mupai, who's done quite well. And then Wilson, who started the season very strong. So I would hold off him for the moment. But, you know, he's outperformed from what we've expected. So it is always interesting. There's always someone in that price bracket that does well. I mean, Wilson's doing better than I would thought he would do so far this season based on the end of last season in the games I saw him for Bournemouth. So I'd hold off for the moment.
Yeah, one final question for you. Of the Leeds and Aston Villa assets, is it just Grealish for you, or are there some other standout players that you just think, you know, got to get them in, or do you just think, no, I'm going to try and get Grealish in? Do you have Grealish, or are you thinking of getting him in?
Well, I mean, I'm getting a bit sick of Podence or Podencine, or however you say his Podence, you know. I'm getting a bit sick of him. I bought him in and he hasn't really returned. He looks dangerous according to the match reports, but that doesn't get me points. So I am very tempted to get Grealish because Villa have got some nice games coming up. As you said, in that previous game, he was unlucky not to score. Obviously returned against Liverpool. You know, he's got Barkley, his sometimes England colleague with him there. And they seem to have a good friendship and partnership on the field. Seems to have let him loose even a bit more free. Took the pressure off him. So yeah, it's for me, and I will go on to this when we talk about the Chelsea game. It's either him or Havertz in my particular team.
Absolutely. We then move on to the game that you actually watched with me. We did the watch along. It was West Ham versus Man City. To be honest with you, there wasn't much takeaway from that game other than like an Antonio overhead kick wonder goal. But I think the main talking points from this game, as you saw, was the Sterling misses. He had 2 opportunities, mainly the one that Kevin De Bruyne put through to him on a plate. He just scuffed it. It's very frustrating. I mean, what did you think of the game overall? Now you've had time to reflect on it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched 3 Premier League games this week, and I watched this game and then the Man City Chelsea the Arsenal Leicester. This was the best game I saw, even though it was low scoring, because I just really appreciate the way that West Ham set up and how organised they were and how they worked together as a team. And there was a lot of what I like to see in football, individual players that sacrifice themselves for the team. The likes of Declan Rice and Ogbonna at the back there, and just war horses. And then you've got, as you say, Antonio, who I was bigging up before the goal. That was a fantastic goal. And Antonio's a cracking player. Very good player for West Ham. So, but going back to Man City, I thought Cancelo looked good, even though it wasn't a particularly vibrant Man City performance. I have to say, Cancelo did catch the eye. He was looking dangerous throughout. But in terms of Sterling, I think when he missed that one-on-one, it was kind of in his mind. And the subsequent chance later on, the ball scuffs off him and heavy touch and everything. And a lot of pressure on Sterling because, Aguero's went off early. Jesus is not fit at the moment. David Silva obviously went to Real Sociedad in the summer. And Sane, I didn't mention Sane on Saturday. I know Sane didn't play much last season, but I mean, he's a fantastic player. So that's a lot of creativity out of that Man City team. So there is a lot of pressure on Sterling. So maybe that got to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And for people that I know that Seb Long triple. I mean, there was Seb Long and there was Mr. Reed that triple captain Sterling. You must have been. I'll ask you immediately. We had Boona, One Rovers Vlogs, Mr. Reed, Seb Long, that are like contributors to this show, or use their triple captaincy chip this weekend. Do you really think it was the right weekend to be using it? I mean, even with hindsight, I always keep saying this regarding a triple captaincy. If you think deep down that you believe that this particular player that you're going to triple captain is going to do it exceptionally well, I said it to Boone, if you think that Tottenham are going to batter Burnley, which we'll get onto in a minute, then yeah, put the triple captaincy on him. But do you think, even with hindsight, that using the triple captaincy this so early on was wise?
Not really, but it's all hindsight. I mean, I was convinced about Sterling until I listened to Planet FPL and James talking about it and him saying how well organised West Ham were. And I thought back to the Arsenal-West Ham game, and I thought, you know what, he's got a really good point because they were very well organised, as I've said before. But Sterling has a fantastic record against West Ham. He's returned in the previous 2 game weeks. He didn't play during the international game, so he was relatively fresh. So it all looked positive. But yeah, I mean, the triple captain, the thing with the triple captain chip is it sounds so exciting. I always get excited by it, but in reality, I've only ever used it once and it's paid off, which was Mane against Huddersfield 2 seasons ago when Huddersfield were already relegated and Liverpool were on red-hot form.
Don't remind me.
So, yeah, well, I am reminding you because I don't have many good moments in FPL, so I've got to hold on to these fleeting moments. But it's a tough one because often, like, people with triple captain and that captain they pick is the most popular captain pick of the week anyway. So it doesn't really add to much. So, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one. We thought Aguero was going to bang, but then, he's got a hamstring injury apparently now. So I don't know how long he'll be out with. For the,
oh, well. Moving on to Fulham versus Crystal Palace. And if you are watching right now, hit that like button. If you're completely brand new around here, hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 6,000 subs. 6,000. As I keep saying to Dan, 6,000, Danny boy. And by the way, just a quick one. We will be celebrating our 2-year anniversary. So our 2-year anniversary, Elite FPL, doing live streams. 2 years. Do you remember last year? Well, this year, myself, Dan and Jason will be going live again. We all just need to do a bit of few arrangements, but November the 14th, Saturday, November the 14th, we will be celebrating 2 years live streaming. Fulham versus Crystal Palace, surprise, surprise. We all brought in Zaha for a reason. He turns up, an absolute beautiful no-look pass to Riedewald, who went and put it in the back of the net to the detriment of firetog.com. Who basically had him third on the bench. Various players for Fulham look pretty good, specifically Lookman having a couple of efforts in there. 5 million, not bad. Impressed by Crystal Palace, obviously conceding that last minute wonder goal from Tom Cairney, breaking the hearts of many Mitchell owners, and a bit disappointed for those defensive assets from Crystal Palace, considering it was like a last-second goal.
I was, because I played Mitchell instead of Justin, and obviously Justin got the clean sheet away to Arsenal.
The irony.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, Palace dominated the game. Obviously, Fulham went down to 10 men. And that they looked. I mean, Zaha had an excellent game. He gave the right back, whose name I do forget, but he gave the right back a torrid time. He was full of life and got a lovely assist, and a brilliant. I already had him previously, and he returned against Brighton, and he didn't look too great in that game, but he's had a really good start to the season, really, because he returned at the start of the season against Manchester United. So I mean, Palace the fixtures are all right. They got Newcastle, Leeds, Newcastle at home, and West Brom at home. Over the next few game weeks or so. So some nice home fixtures coming up, and I think Zaha's looking good to stay in the team, really. So it was a great goal from Tom Cairney right at the end. It was a fantastic strike, but it's so frustrating.
Quite a few of them this weekend, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was just like, because I do match of the day challenge. I was watching Sunday morning, and I was just like, right, come on, Palace, get that clean sheet. And it was a brilliant goal, but they didn't really fret much apart from that. So, it was frustrating, but a good win for Palace. But it's just what to do in terms of Mitchell, because I know Van Aanholt is kind of returning.
In your words, he came on as a sub, but he came on for Nathaniel Klein. Now, maybe that was down to match fitness, and he just thought, bring on Van Aanholt to get his match fitness off, because the new player, Klein, hasn't been playing much whatsoever over the last season or so. I don't know. But anyhow, the point being is that maybe he came on for him. But does Mitchell get threatened by PVA at all? Do we not read too much into it?
Not too much into it. Mitchell's been getting some good reviews, hasn't he? I think he had a good shot in the second half as well. I remember that from the highlights. So he's a bit of an attacking threat, but it's just good value. You know me, I love my budget defenders. Love a bit of a bargain there, and we'll have to see. But Van Aanholt, he has had some good attacking returns in the past, hence his price point of 5.4. So. Yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble. I mean, I felt playing Mitchell away to Fulham was a better choice than playing Justin away to Arsenal. And this season, I'm trying not to get too wrapped up in... I'm kind of evaluating the decision rather than the outcome so much. It is frustrating, but when you look at it, it made sense. So we'll have to see. But hoping Mitchell will start the next.
Talking of which, Zaha, people are saying, is Zaha worth bringing in or not? You've already missed his returns, because he ain't going to be doing anything against Wolves on Friday evening. That's going to be an absolute stinker of a game. It wouldn't surprise me if that's 0-0, but we're going to be doing oh yeah, that's going to be a stinker of a game. I'm expecting that to be 0-0 or 1-0 either way. But we're not here to preview Game Week 7. That'll be tomorrow or Friday, no idea when. But now then, on to a disappointing game for many. Of course, the hindsight. Oh, I can't be saying hindsight, Dan. I'm not allowed to say hindsight. People seem to have the problem with me saying hindsight for. Christ's sake. It is to you. It is to freaking you. So, Man United 0, Chelsea 0. This is pretty much my notes on this particular game. Biggest talking point. Maguire, chokehold on Azpilicueta. What's going on here, Dan? Why was that not even checked by VAR? It just drives you up the wall. The VAR is there to check all these decisions. The one thing you want it to check, it doesn't bother.
Yeah, it was a dire game, man. They kept replaying that in the second half, so it's like a poor game when they're replaying something from the first half. It was just, that should have been a penalty blatantly, but they got away with it. I was really looking forward to the game and the hype around it, but 2 clean sheets in a row for Chelsea. They had like a back five. Reece James actually played. That's another frustrating thing because I took him out because he wasn't starting much the previous league games, and then he comes back in, and Thiago Silva's playing. Sort of Azpilicueta's playing as one of the three centre backs, and then they've got the wing backs there as well. So they've got the five at the back. So it seemed to solidify Chelsea a bit more. And Mendy had a bit of a moment in the first half where he nearly passed it into his own net under no real pressure, but he did make a good save towards the end. He made a couple of saves from Rashford. That was about it. It must be frustrating for Fernandes owners as well, because there was all this talk about him, being essential, and then it was just a dull stalemate, really.
Well, ironically, talking of Fernandes, I'm expecting him to go because he's somebody that he's another one I'm so tempted to bring in, but it requires me doing some tinkering with Trent, Robertson, blah, 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 and we'll get onto their game in a couple of seconds' time. Fernandes is someone that I'm targeting, and do you know what? I'm genuinely expecting him to do really, really well over the next few fixtures. Actually against you lot, but we'll get onto you guys in a minute. But yeah, I'll tell you what though, Mendy, since he's come into goal for Chelsea, it does seem to have solidified them up. I mean, he had that little bit of a wobble where he nearly scored an own goal, so to speak. But has Thiago Silva also had like an impact on them?
Yeah, I was going to say I thought Thiago Silva played really well. He had a very difficult start against West Brom, but with that kind of back five they had there, seemed a bit more comfortable, putting a good block against his old mate Cavani. I mean, when Cavani come on, do you know what? Fair play. He did he livened the game off a bit, nearly scored straight away. Looks, Cavani's going to have a point to prove because of the way like his PSG career ended, I think, really. And I'm sure that he would still want to be involved with Uruguay and stuff. And he seems like, from all the reports, that he's quite a dedicated professional and in good shape. So, I mean, yeah, he's got that poacher's instinct. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Cavani. Hopefully not against us, though, but with what happens with him.
Now, finally, as most people will be probably tuning in for this specific game next, Sheffield United, Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 1, and as an actual result for Liverpool, brilliant. 3 points. 3 points in the bag, especially after Man City dropping 2 versus, well, actually, they gained 1 at least, considering they came back from a losing position. But yeah, a lot of people were very, very, very disappointed with Trent and Robertson conceding again. But it was a penalty. To be fair, I've written down here, Trent had very many opportunities he could have come out of that with a double-digit haul. Robertson, once again, put the cross in for Mane. Mane hit into the goalkeeper, and of course it bounced out to Firmino. But the main one being Salah. A lot of people captained Salah. He was very popularised with the big content creators out there, all the big teams, all the big player names out there, all captained Salah. He could have come out with a double-digit haul, let's be real here. That beautiful touch that he had and put it in the back of the net after Trent passed it to him. He also hit the post at the end. He came away with absolutely nothing. And what do you take away from this Liverpool versus Sheffield United? Of course, Alisson returning as well. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating for Salah. I mean, I'm a Salah owner, but for Salah captain is even more. And I know some people might have triple captained him as well. But we did say, Sheffield United, in terms of results, they've had a poor start to the season, but they're no mugs. They'd only let in 7 goals up to game week 6. So I thought Sheffield United...
Yeah, I think you were about to say what I was about to interject with. I tell you what, Dan, they had their opportunities. It's a shame. They remind me of us, Burnley. That they have attempts, but they just can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I thought they played some nice football. It was like last season when they were doing really well, everyone was saying, they're organised. I was like, do you know what? It's not just that. They play some good football and they seem to grow in confidence. And I think with that, although they lost, the way they played, that should give them a bit of confidence. And it's funny you say about goals. They've still got Brewster, obviously returning to his former team, He's
apparently not looking that great. He's not looking that great whatsoever.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he's obviously young and he's raw and whatnot. He didn't really get involved much on Saturday, but they're just going to have to put some of these chances away. But they they're a bit unlucky not to come away from the game with at least a point. But yeah, I mean, going back to Liverpool, I mean, Salah should have scored. He obviously had that one that come off the post or whatever it was, and it just wasn't his day, really. And I think every time that Liverpool play a team from the bottom half, I think people are just expecting a madness from Salah, but it's not going to happen every time. So it is frustrating, particularly when you captain him and you know that a lot of your rivals have got a captain playing on the Monday evening, so you've got to wait to the Monday evening to see if they return. So that's not a good feeling. But going on to TAA, like, I'm getting really frustrated with it. I think I'm gonna take him out this week because it's just like, well, it's 7.4. There in the defence, it's just not getting the returns. So it's frustrating.
So you're looking at it from a point of view that not only is he not getting clean sheets, but it's just the fact that he's not getting attacking returns as well. There are better options out there.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I can use that. I can reinvest that money into my midfield. I can upgrade Podence, and then I can downgrade TAA. But then I've got money in the bank to upgrade one of the other cheaper defenders. So my money's getting better spread across the team. So I've got more balance. But I just know as soon as I take him out, he'll get a double-digit haul.
Well, talking of taking people out, what about people bringing? Taking people out. What about bringing in Salah's counterpart, Mane? He is just, from an FPL point of view, he's getting attacking returns every single game. Have you thought about potentially, if it was possible, doubling up Mane and Salah? Because I bloody have, if I could afford it.
Possibly. I don't know if I'd have the funds because I've got quite a top-heavy team. I suppose that would require. I'm just trying to. No, I don't think it would be possible unless I take like an 8-point hit. But Mane, like his performance against Arsenal, and the guy was saying last week how he played against Ajax away. Obviously, returning in this game. He is looking, but then the thing is, Steve-O, I started the season with Mane. I just remember this now, against Leeds instead of Salah, and then obviously Salah got the hat trick, and psychologically, that stuck in my mind.
He got the hat trick.
Salah or Son affair.
He got the hat trick,
yeah,
and then since then, Mane's outperformed. I don't know the exact points, but I'm pretty certain that Mane's outperformed points-wise Salah.
So, and Salah, and it is a bit of a cliche, but Salah can be a bit greedy sometimes. I think there was one point when he could have squared it across to Mane, and Mane was a bit frustrated again, and that's been a sort of theme that's gone throughout their partnership.
Well, I'm actually legitimately probably going to be captaining Salah versus West Ham. Genuinely, there seems to be a pattern involved with Salah. And also, I remember last year or the season before, whenever Salah seemed to have a really good game and do nothing the following game. I'm talking whether it's Champions League, he did really well and did nothing the following game versus whoever, he would do really well. And these patterns exist for a reason, and I'm actually seriously tempted by Salah this game week.
Well, going back to it, the goals he scored this season have been fantastic. Like the one against Everton was just quality. Oh. And there was the one against Leeds as well at the hat trick. We just banged it in to the top corner off the post or whatever it was. That was just like, you just saw it. And, this guy can explode. So it's a bloody difficult one, really.
Yes, it is indeed. And talking of difficult ones, God almighty, Southampton coming out on top versus Everton 2-0. Everybody was expecting goals in this game. Well, they all went to Southampton, nothing for Everton. But the major talking point coming out of this game, the Digne red card. It was a horrible challenge on Walker-Peters. And, Digne owners must be flaming thinking, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah, it was, not funny, but last week when people were saying about Richarlison and James obviously potentially not playing and whatnot, I did make the point where they've still got creativity from Digne. I think Digne, am I right? I think he scored an own goal away to Southampton when we got sent off away to Southampton before. I think there is a track record of Digne, like when I had him the season before last, he'd either score a last-minute free kick against Watford, or he gets sent off, or score an own goal. I think it was away to Brighton. So he seems to be at the opposite end of the scale. Like it's quite weird like that. But yeah, it was a bad challenge. Walker Peters and Southampton. Ings, couple of assists. I did take him out for Kane, which
I was going to ask you more about his strike partner, Che Adams. He's now scoring goals.
Yeah, that Che Adams is another one I had in at the start of the season. But Che Adams and Ings is a good partnership. Che Adams was like assisting Che Adams was assisting Ings at the start of the season. Now the roles have seemed to reverse a bit, and I've got to say, Southampton are looking good. And me personally, I've kind of overlooked their assets. And as much as I think it was worth upgrading to Kane, I am kind of like, because I've still got DCL, I'm like, I kind of wish I still had Ings, but I took him out for Kane, and a brilliant result for Southampton. But what to do with Calvert-Lewin?
Well, that's what I was about to say, because I have a feeling, everybody, that Jason's selling him. I have a feeling Jason's selling him for Bamford. Let's just put it like that.
Really?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, get your reaction to that. I honestly think Jason's going to be selling Calvert-Lewin for Bamford. Talk to us, Dan. What do you think?
Well, I mean, Jason...
I could be completely wrong, but it was just a kind of like reading into something that he said to me, and I think he said something on the stream as well that he did, and I was thinking, okay.
He's pretty good with these hunches he has, or whatever the word is. And he is a risky FPL player, but often his risks pay off. And I know I did quite like what he said on stream. It kind of inspired me a little bit, but it kind of gave me a little bit of motivation when he was saying about, I do like to take these hits, and when they pay off, it's a real thrill. And I was like, do you know what? He's got a bloody good point there.
Well, according to Nuclear Atoms, Jason has already made a transfer yesterday to Bamford, so I'm assuming either Watkins or DCL. Well, he'd be mad to be getting rid of... We're talking of Southampton. He'd be mad to get rid of Aston Villa assets because they're up against Southampton, who play such a high line. And I'm really expecting Aston Villa to beat Southampton at the weekend. So getting rid of Watkins, I'm expecting Watkins to score versus Southampton. Bamford up again. Who's Bamford got again? Remind me, everybody. Who's Bamford on Monday evening? Who the hell have they got? Talk to me, Dan. Whoever they've got, he's not.
Is it Newcastle?
Newcastle. Is it Newcastle?
I'm guessing. I know they have got Newcastle at home soon, but
no, it's not Newcastle.
Somebody in chat will know. Somebody in chat. Put out the chat.
Here we are. Let's do
Wisdom
it now.
in the crowd.
It's here right now. Leicester. He ain't scoring against Leicester, so I'm not expecting Bamford to do anything versus. And it's no coincidence. There's a bit of a pattern forming with Bamford as well. And can he score versus Leicester? Yes. Do I think he will though? No, I really don't. And yeah, I'd be surprised if Jason... Well, apparently he's already done it. So if he's done it for Watkins, fair enough. But I think that's personally a bad move there. Cheers for the sub there. True Gooner. Why do I recognise that name? If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the like button. Let's get people knowing about us. Be great. It could be great. Let's try and get 100 likes within the next 2 minutes. Anyway, moving on to, talking of Wolves kicking off on Friday. That another wonder strike from Jimenez. Gets it down, volleys it in on the half volley or the quarter volley, whatever you want to call it, and then Jacob Murphy stealing the clean sheet off Wolves' defensive owners. However, Saiss came off, I believe, on the 68th minute, something like that. Very, 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 very lucky Saiss owners. He got a point. Yeah, Dan, Wolves won, Newcastle won, and this is the 4th time in a row these have drawn 1-1.
Yeah, I did tip Wolves, but I thought it would be a tighter game. The history came good, and I'm just pleased with Jimenez returning again, really, after the previous game week against Leeds away. And he's just, for me, he's just Mr. Reliable. Every time I'm struggling with my season, just bring Jimenez in, because although he's not, his ceiling's not as high as some other players, he does kind of consistently return when there's these little purple patches. I mean, Wolves aren't looking like the team they were last. They had a very long season last season, and obviously they're missing Jota as well. But Jimenez getting the return. But Newcastle, they played quite well against United last weekend and took that into the
They're
game.
better away from home.
I think
Newcastle.
a draw was.
I could be proven completely wrong, but they are a lot more better away from home. And we were talking about Watkins and Bamford and Coolio 2-Foot. Are you doing as well as I am on the betting front? And just to let people know, I'm actually keeping a record of my bets this particular season. I'm essentially 20 quid up, Dan, on my bets, because I did some bets last night, but we'll get onto that in a minute. I did some bets last night. I won again, which is cool. And I'm really enjoying doing fantasy football bets. But once again, we'll get into that in a minute. But Coolio 2-Foot has donated a further $20. He donated $20 the other day to Jason to do the stream for the Liverpool game. And now all of a sudden he's donated $20 again to say Watkins is rubbish, Dan. Outside of the Liverpool game,
I'm not having that. I'm not having that. He's from Newton Abbot, so he's a local boy. So I
know he's a local lad from Newton Abbot.
Yeah. And he obviously he was at Exeter City in that. Grew up through went up through the ranks.
Super Mirror, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I can't have people slagging off Watkins after he got that hat trick against Liverpool.
Well, this is what Coolio 2-Foot is saying outside the Liverpool game, and even Planet FPL was saying about the fact that semi-sweet potato. You're not going to do a 38-minute video on that countdown, will you? But that's the point. It's like outside of the Liverpool game, look at Aston Villa since. From an attacking point of view, because that was just a complete anomaly, and they don't apparently look that particularly great. But he's loving. Coolio 2-Foot is just basically saying, "Cheers, Semi." He's loving the show with me and you. Bamford is the king of FPL at the moment. So there's Coolio 2-Foot's thoughts there. But overall for me, Wolves are just, from an attacking point of view, absolutely pointless. Jam Bobsy, cheers for the sub, pal. Wolves are just absolutely hopeless, and Newcastle just, pointless assets. Would you keep, if you got Jimenez, Dan, keep him or just sell? Is he really worth the 8.6 or whatever he is, or 8.5?
It's a tough one because, as I said, he's returned in the last two game weeks, so. Quite happy. I mean, they've got Palace, Leicester, Southampton. I could see him returning in a couple of those games, actually. I really could.
Well, he's one of those players. He is legitimately a goal a game, or more to the point, a single-digit attack return a game. That's his average, give or take. And
yeah, I mean, if you.
Yes.
No, I was just going to say, I think he got 8 points, 6 points, 0 points, 2 points, 8 points, 9 points so far this season. So there is a little bit of a pattern there.
Bench points, Matt is saying he's just not got high enough ceiling for 8.5. I completely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. What's Coolio 2-Foot saying there? Bamford is no Pookie. Bamford plays for Leeds while Pookie played for Norwich. One team is a Prem side while the other team is clearly a check. Well, yeah, that's a very good point. Triple Wolves have been doing really well for me last couple of weeks, but I'll be moving them on soon. Which Triple Wolves have got, Thomas? Because I can only imagine it's got to be Jimenez, Saiss, and maybe Podence, or well, if you've gone double with Kilman, fair play. But right, everybody, get out the popcorn. Get out the popcorn. I'm going to say my piece on the next game, which is Arsenal 0, Leicester 1. I was watching for about 30 seconds before I turned that. In fact, do you know what, everybody? I will play it. In fact, I bet I won't even be able to find it. I'm going to deliberately go on mute, Dan, for a second.
Okay.
But it's Arsenal 0, Leicester 1. Lacazette. Goal ruled off thanks to Xhaka being in an offside position and interfering with Schmeichel. He also had an offer opportunity, Tierney, with that cross. All he had to do was get ahead to it, but unfortunately didn't. And then bang, Vardy pops up, whatever minute it was, and smack right in the back of the net, making it 1-0. And he had that late opportunity, but to be honest, it was never going to go in, to be honest. But Dan, take it away. Arsenal 0, Leicester 1. Let rip.
It's just very frustrating, really, because I feel that the first half we played quite well. As you said, ironically, it was David Luiz that was our kind of a creative outlet in that first half. He was pinging it over to Tierney, and Tierney was getting the ball in. There was a couple of opportunities there for Lacazette and Aubameyang, like Saka trying to burst into the box. It just, for me, it doesn't seem that Arteta knows his best team at the moment, and creatively, we're just not. It's going to sound very weird. It reminded me of watching Roy Hodgson's England team, because it was just like we're just not creative at all, and it was just quite slow. And we weren't playing it in front. It was all side to side. We weren't playing it in front of them enough, and in the second half, like, I honestly don't remember Schmeichel making a save in the second half. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in chat, but Pepe, I'm sick of this guy now because, towards the end, okay, we got a corner. Towards the end, right, okay, let's get it in there and see if we can get a scruffy goal to get an equaliser. Can't beat the first man. It's £72 million, and you can't beat the first man with your cross at a decisive moment, okay? It's pathetic.
When you think of Pepe, and I hear the numbers 72 million, like, what the...
We're still paying it off. It was like a Argos pay now, I don't know, get now, pay later, or whatever it is. Buy now, pay later. That's the one. But he's playing football on skates a lot of the time, and it is frustrating. And in terms of our midfield as well, we had Ceballos, Xhaka, and Partey, and I didn't really know who was the attacking midfielder at that point. And you know what? I'm going to be a complete and utter hypocrite now, okay? This is me being a complete and utter hypocrite. I think we should try and get Ozil back into the team somehow, even if it is as a luxury substitute on the last 15 to 20 minutes, because we're just lacking creativity completely. And that, as I said, without front three, Lacazette was just like, I don't know, he was like a sort of bull in a china shop. He was more like a UFC fighter than a Premier League forward on Sunday, and it just didn't work. And but Leicester, they had a game plan, smash and grab raid. Vardy with that amazing record against us. No wonder we tried to sign him. And yeah, I mean, if you own Justin like I do, but I benched him, you're going to be happy, loving life. And Vardy, he only gets one chance, more or less, in the game, and he scores. So Leicester looking really good away from home. They deserve the win, but FPL assets Arsenal-wise, I'm just not seeing it, unfortunately.
Matt saying, wash your mouth out, Dan. Ozil, get a grip of yourself. I've just added that bit, but you know what I mean. Greg Watson, the first time playing 4-3-3, middle three to flat, and Saka best of the attacking three. We're missing Willian.
Yeah.
Notorious Nerd saying Arsenal should have spent the cash on Zaha instead.
Oh man, now he's talking my language. Yeah, I was thinking that. Emery wanted Zaha, and he's come out and said that since, instead of Pepe. And when the way Zaha started the season, and yeah, we should have, because that's the kind of dynamic player we needed. And I thought Saka played all right. Thought Saka, was one of the best of the bad bunch, really. Bellerin played okay. But yeah, Saka's been one of the few that's actually had a kind of attacking threat. But we don't seem to know that best front three. Yeah, Willian didn't play, but then Willian played as a centre forward against Man City, and that's not his position. And we struggled against Vienna, really. We only beat Vienna because we brought Aubameyang on. And they obviously took the lead when Leno and Leno hasn't been looking great this season. So our best goalie plays for Villa now, basically. But there you go.
It's ironic, isn't it? You get rid of the goalkeeper that was keeping loads of clean sheets. After 10 years, he finally gets his opportunity. He keeps about 500 million clean sheets for you, and then Arteta goes, you can clear off now. Since he's left, he seems to have done some wonders for Aston Villa, and yet Leno, the guy you kept, is, as you've just said, is an absolute waste of time. Well, Bilal is mentioning...
No, I wouldn't say Leno's a waste of time, but he's not, because there's less pressure on him now, because we've got some Poundland keeper from Iceland or whatever as backup. So, Martinez, he should still be there.
Talking to Troops, Bilal's mentioning Troops about the fact that, did you see his reaction after the VAR game? Well, talking to Troops, I did send this to Dan, so just listen to this, everybody. Now, when I sent you that to you, Dan, you replied with I'm not going to use the language, but he's got a point. Can you remember this? Specifically what I was sending you, and what did you mean by Troops has a point? What was he referring to in all of that?
He was that's another thing for another podcast, so to speak. But
we got 20 minutes. Come on, tell us.
It just is. He's obviously off to New York to do this other podcast or live stream or whatever. So I think ever since that, it's kind of gone to his head. But in terms of what he said, is however he articulated it, he does have a point about how our record away to big teams. You know, we haven't beaten Man United away in the league since 2006. We haven't beaten Liverpool away since I think it's like 2012. The last big away game we won is December 2015, 2-1 away to Man City. We just get dominated in that. I know I'm more referring to last weekend, but we've had let's be realistic, we've had 3 tough fixtures this season. We've lost all 3 of them in the league. So it's frustrating, but good win for Leicester. Leicester are a good team. And, you can't expect to win every game. But in terms of an FPL point of view, you're not really going to be looking at many Arsenal assets at the moment.
No, we're talking on from an FPL point of view. One team that quite a lot of people had a lot of assets with. Some people like Boona had triple. It's Brighton. What a surprise. Flattered to deceive again, or more to the point. Had their opportunities, didn't take them. Surprise, surprise, conceded a goal. It's no coincidence. I said it in my predictions. It wouldn't surprise me if it ended 1-1. I said 1-0 to Brighton in the end, but West Brom, they get their goalless draw against Burnley. I don't give a damn what people say about that. It breeds confidence, and we'll get onto that game in a minute, Burnley-Tottenham, but it breeds confidence. Yeah, an unfortunate own goal by Livermore. Lamptey very threatening from a Brighton point of view. But Brighton fans must be so disappointed with this, let's be honest here, pathetic 1-1 draw versus a team in which these are the teams they should be beating.
Yeah, I mean, West Brom are still... they haven't won in the league this season yet, have they?
No, they haven't, but they've now got 2 draws in a row. And I honestly think they're building momentum. And I'm telling you now, they're up against Fulham next. I think it was Notorious Nerd that said target Fulham. Well, guess what? If you've got West Brom in your team, Pereira or something, don't bench him. Don't bench any West Brom. Play him versus Fulham, because I'm telling you now, they're going to be beating Fulham.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because they've got an FPL veteran in their team, a Chelsea old boy, Ivanovic, if you remember him from many years ago. Back in the Premier League at the age of 36. He's certainly not settling down and retiring in, Qatar or wherever. Back in the real stuff, and made his debut. They've got settled into a back 4 there, and it was that they might have potentially won that game, but I could see them beating Fulham the way that they picked up recently. They got a good, they went 3-0 up against Chelsea. You should be able to hold that out, but it shows that they can create something. So, Yeah, that they're looking like they're improving, shall I say? I bought Lamptey in. He did look threatening, but unfortunately didn't get me the returns I was
Hold on.
hoping for.
He's a player. Just hold on. If they've got a quote-unquote good fixture like this, you know, get on and a march. You're not subscribed to us yet. What's going on? You've been watching us for ages. You haven't even subscribed yet. What do you think about that, Dan?
Say again, sorry?
The fact that one of our regular viewers has only just subscribed. What's going on? Anyway.
I need to sort it out. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, or else I'll come and pick your team for you, and you won't do very well. There you go.
But going back to Lamptey, keep hold of him. I think certainly play him in the favourable fixtures whenever Brighton have got those decent fixtures. Hold on a minute, 2 seconds.
They don't. No, they don't. I was just thinking they don't keep many clean sheets though, Brighton. That's the thing.
No, they don't. But, cheers for the sub, Mohammed. No, they don't. But the point being is that Lamptey, from a threatening point of view, Dan?
I'm there, yeah. I'm just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we're going to continue. But yeah, Lamptey, from a threatening point of view, absolutely, you should hold on. And certainly, is he... Okay, I'll ask this question. Is he worth buying?
I think so. I think because he from watching the highlights, he seemed to be, kind of an attacking threat, getting in the final third a lot. I don't know if the stats will back me up on that, but he did seem to be getting into the box and, threatening. And I like in terms of the eye test, I like what I've seen of him. And you don't get, I know it was just, speculation, but you don't get linked with Bayern Munich for no reason. And I think Lampard didn't want to let him go. So yeah, I think it's just, I like my defenders under 5 million that can attack, because when it comes to defence, I'm a bit of a cheapskate. So I think I'm going to keep on to him and just see how he does over the next couple of game weeks and take it from there, really.
If anybody's a World's Strongest Man fan, they'll understand this, although I think I'm butchering his name. So what I'm going to deliberately do is I'm going to go on Google and specifically search his actual name. But I do know for a fact that this is actually his name. So thank you to JF Carone, or JF as he's known in these parts. Let me just quickly type it in. JF Carone. Cheers for the sub. Anyway, finally, we move on to everybody. Dan was, I can't wait for this game. Burnley versus Spurs. Spurs are going to, honestly, when you're a fan of a team, of a Prem team, right, and you hear lines like, Spurs are going to batter Burnley. Spurs are going to win 5 or 6-0. Spurs are going to get so many goals against Burnley. Make sure that your triple captain flaming Kane's son. Make sure you're captain Kane or whatever versus Burnley. And it's just like, are you actually having a laugh? Like, what on earth information makes you think that Burnley at home are going to get battered? Unless you're Man City or Chelsea, it ain't happening. And Spurs do not like playing teams like us. 2 packs of 4. They can't get through. And I was listening in on the radio to this game, and there was nothing from Tottenham, I heard. Absolutely jack all from Tottenham. We were defending really, really well. Let's be real here. There was always a concern from my point of view where it's like, when's it going to come through? When are they going to break through finally? It never came. It just never came. And then eventually a corner popped in from a Namela. Kane gets his head on it, gets to his best mate's son. Bang, 1-0. Kane assist. And the rest is history. And people don't get me wrong, for Boona, Charlie to have triple captain Kane and to get just an assist is awful. But come on. I said it at the time, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tight. I said 2-1 to Spurs. I wasn't expecting it to be anything other. We were a bit unfortunate. Wood had a fantastic opportunity, but Kane, ironically, clearing it off the line. I do agree with Jason that how Kane didn't get even a bonus point, but whatever. Obviously, Reguilon didn't start, would you believe, Jason, getting Dallas off the bench, but whatever. Dan, you captain Kane as well. Congratulations to Dre Zera, one of the few people that I know actually captains Son. For me, Son is in the form of his life at the moment, ain't he?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I did, I took Pulisic out and I brought Son in, so that, that paid off. It was more of an ownership thing, particularly on Cash Mini League. But yeah, he is in the form of his life. I think he scored in the Europa League game a few days before.
Yes,
he
did,
he was
as a substitute.
He's been doing. Well, yeah, he's been doing it in all competitions really. So, and him and Kane, the chemistry is fantastic between them. And I hate to say it, but yeah, that was a very good win for Spurs because Burnley. I read the match report and the Burnley played very well. I think did Ashley Barnes have a goal disallowed or an effort that was close?
Not to my... Oh no, yes, a goal rule offside.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, Burnley were putting a bit of pressure on, and Spurs ground the win out. I mean, I think, stating the obvious, but Son is essential. I don't regret captaining Kane because I did think he would score. At least he did something. When I saw that come through, I was like, do you know what? He got something, so I'm not too displeased.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I said it on the preview stream, look, Kane's history versus Burnley is excellent. He's essentially a goal a game. He's always going to get something, it seems, to Burnley, but I just get so frustrated when it's been probably like with you actually, to be honest, when people slate Arsenal. I get so frustrated when I hear people, like I have the right to say, I have the right, but as a Burnley supporter or whatever, I see what I see and I know what's going to be happening. And people going, how can you judge Burnley on the fact that they got a 0-0 result? It doesn't matter. We're the kind of team that once we get a positive result, I don't care if it's against West Brom or flaming Bristol City for crying out loud. It's a positive result, and we breed off that. And I'm telling you now, our next game is against Chelsea. We're going to lose that. Oh, we're going to get... In fact, someone's just asked about Chelsea defence. Chilwell for this game. Chilwell is someone that I'm definitely looking at. Zuma is another one to look at. But against Chelsea, we're going to get... Ironically, we're probably going to concede 2 or 3 goals versus Chelsea. But because our record versus Chelsea at home is awful. It is terrible. Ironically, away from home at Stamford Bridge, it's really good. And the history, again, from Spurs' point of view, at our place, they don't find it that easy. Yeah, an anomaly when they beat us 3-0, but... and ironically, on that day, Son and Kane didn't even feature, but the point being is that was just an anomaly. At our place, it's not that great. However, Chelsea, this particular game week, I wouldn't be captain anybody. I wouldn't be potentially bringing anybody in. Pulisic got a hat-trick last season and a 4-2 win, the game that I was covering. I'm expecting 2, maybe 3. It all depends on the Champions League this week. But yeah, going on that point about Chelsea defenders, Dan, worth bringing in? Oh, Dan, for some reason. Dan, did you hear that? Dan, your mic for some reason isn't working. Can you speak? Let's just try.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, here it is. Nothing was coming through there. Chelsea defenders, Dan.
Yeah. You were saying?
Chelsea defenders, Dan.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, as I said, they sort of switched to that back 5 maybe because of the opponents. Clean sheet against Sevilla in the Champions League, of course. So I did consider Zuma. Yeah, I always maybe it's a bit. I always look at it from an potential attacking returns point of view, but kind of got to look at those clean sheets. And I know they've got. I think it's Sheffield United and Newcastle after that. So the next 3 game weeks for Chelsea players do look quite promising, at least on paper. And Havertz was another guy that I was considering getting into my team purely from a differential point of view. To help sort of get me back up the league, really, because I thought in the game against United, even though, as I said, it was a dull game and everything, he did impress me with the way that he was linking up with Werner It was just that Werner wasn't seeming to get in there and get his shots away, but he did. I could kind of see what the hype was about. And in the previous game against Southampton, he returned and he looked really good. So what I'm trying to say is that there does seem kind of like that partnership is kind of gelling a little bit more now. There's something forming there. So I think, a Chelsea defender could be a good shout now that they got a better goalie as well. Really.
Well, Cladis is thinking, I'm thinking of bringing in Havertz for Trossard this particular game to triple up on Chelsea. He'll have Chilwell, Pulisic and Havertz.
Chilwell's a good shout.
His question, though, is should he wait, though, and just do Bale to Trossard the following week?
You say Bale to Trossard? Sorry.
Trossard to Bale the following week if he just holds rather than doing Havertz in.
I think it would be better to get Havertz. And I mean, Bale didn't start last night, did he?
No, he didn't.
No. So that's why I was just a bit confused by that. I mean, with Bale, it is. I know he got an assist for an own goal in the Europa League match. But it seems like Mourinho's easing him in. You know, these sort of substitute appearances in the Europa League games. So I would say Havertz, really, with those 3 game weeks coming up.
Mark making the point here that, which is true, the real question is, do you think Chilwell is a worthy replacement for Robertson or Trent? Or, I mean, we got Wade saying, is Chilwell worthy of coming in for Trent? I mean, it's a dilemma that I've got. It's as simple as it gets. I mean, all the naysayers are coming out and saying you've got to do Chilwell in for Trent. And then, of course, when Trent goes and gets a double-digit haul versus West Ham and Chilwell does nothing, all these people are going to go, I told you Trent should have stayed in your team. Shut up. So, Dan, it's a very, 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 very tough question. I've already done the quote-unquote simple predictions maths on my thoughts on Chilwell versus Trent. And reality is that I'm expecting them over the next 4 game weeks to come out on similar points, to be honest with you. But yeah, Dan, what are you thinking? It's tough.
I've got to say, it is tough, but I have been impressed with Chilwell when I've seen him, because I know that it's a lot of money. It's because he's an England international and all this malarkey, that it's a big transfer fee. But having said that, I think obviously he got his assist in the game against Southampton, and yeah, just generally, he had a solid game against Manchester United. It is just, he's 5.8, pretty good game weeks coming up. Trent for 7.4 million is frustrating a lot of people. You're kind of downgrading, but Chilwell, good attacking potential for return. So I think there's a lot of logic to that move, really. I mean, I'm considering downgrading Trent to Chilwell and then upgrading Podence, whatever, to Grealish.
Arushan's saying, will Bale actually start this particular game week? Well, the question is, nobody knows. These Champions League games, Europa League games, I've got your team up on screen. Is it affecting your thought processes? Because to be honest with you, I'm holding any transfers until all these European games have finished, to be honest, because I'm not willing to take that risk that, for argument's sake, that I was to bring in Chilwell for whoever, or Grealish and for Foden, I don't know, and then it turns out that Foden didn't start for Man City again, but he's guaranteed to start at the weekend versus Sheffield United. Chilwell, he got an injury versus whoever they're playing tomorrow night, and he won't be playing for the next 2 weeks for thingy. It's tough, isn't it, with all these European games, quick turnaround?
The games are coming. I mean, there's some game, obviously Marseille, Man City, that could be an interesting game. Liverpool against a team that I can't even pronounce, no disrespect. But yeah, the thing with it is, Steve-O, is that, let's say that Bell plays on Thursday and he gets a couple of goals or things like that. Then it gets into your mindset more that, hold on a minute, he's done well in this Europa League game. Is Mourinho going to think, well, let's see how he can do in the league and integrate him in that way? So it's but yeah, like injuries piling up and stuff like that, fixture congestion. I mean, there's just a crazy amount of fixtures this season. And tomorrow, Chelsea away. Some Man United playing Leipzig. That'll be a tough game. Juventus, Barcelona, but nothing to do with FPL. But Yeah, it does play into your mindset a little bit. So let's just see. But I think for the moment, I think Bale has been integrated slowly into that team again. Maybe Mourinho's mindful of his kind of injuries previously, so he just doesn't want to push him in straight away. So we'll just have to wait and see how those games go.
Looking at your team and moving forward with it, you know what? It's actually pretty good. Leicester defender in there with Justin. I mean, admittedly, you put him on the bench, but it doesn't matter. A great front three of Kane, Jimenez and Calvert-Lewin. The only real standout for me, honestly, in this team is, as we've already discussed, is Podence. And as you mentioned, you have 1.1 in the bank. What's that? 5.5, so 6. You can't quite get in Grealish. Thought about maybe bringing in Barkley, because apparently since he's come to Aston Villa, he's done really, really well.
Yeah, Barkley's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? It feels like he's been around forever, but his career hasn't quite kick-started. But he seems to be playing with a lot more freedom. So yeah, that would be that is a move I'm tempted by. But I'm almost quite set on getting rid of Trent, because then I would have that money to reinvest back into my defence. So like looking at Mitchell and that uncertainty about whether he's going to start or not, I could upgrade Mitchell, see how Lamptey does, Justin does, and I've got more funds to play with. So I can kind of upgrade my midfield and put that money back in. But yeah, Barkley is a good player. It is very tempting, really. But it's just back to the good old 3-4-3, three musketeers up front. Seems to be. It's just nice to actually get some above average game week scores, because the season started horrifically for me. I'm just playing kind of a bit for pride now, but it is nice to be getting, you captain a logical choice and it pays off. Zaha plays against a rubbish team like Fulham, no disrespect. He returns. It's just like, right, okay, these sound decisions are actually paying off. So it is,
Before I ask this question, Semi-Sweet Potato asking, I'll be taking callers. You've got 10 minutes. It's as simple as that. If you want to come live on air right now with me and Dan, you've got 10 minutes, and I am going to be very, very strict with the calls. Talking to Zaha, Dan, we've got all these people that come out and say Zaha is a waste of space, he's useless, yet he's actually performing very, very well. Does that frustrate you when you hear the fact that someone like yourself has got Zaha, people like me, and then you hear people just saying, why do you own Zaha for? He's not good enough, blah, 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 blah.
No. Because I'm getting points that they're not getting. I couldn't care less.
No, precisely. No, but this is my point, though. Does it not, when you hear through the fantasy football community, when these people slag off a particular player, yet they're actually doing really well for their price and everything, and they're, surprise, they're performing, up against the teams that you brought them in for? Does it not frustrate you? Because it frustrates me when people say, I wouldn't own Zaha, and yet there he is outscoring players like, Foden or whoever. I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but all the popular picks, shall we say.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not that knee deep into the community, to quote the old in-betweeners, but no, it doesn't really affect me. I mean, I just feel, in a way, I feel a bit smug that he's doing well, and I've got him in my team, and I've always rated him as a player. And I'm not there to pick out, to have a really fashionable team. I'm there to kind of get back up the league and start enjoying the season again. So, not at all.
Thingy, Fess is making a point here, which I can actually answer this question, to be honest with you, Fess, but I kind of understand where you're coming from. If I'm not wrong, Mane got an assist for an own goal. You are. Is that right, when he got the own goal the other week, Dan? But anyhow, why did Lamptey not get the assist last night for the own goal? Well, the simple answer is this. So when he poured the ball across, it actually ricocheted off another West Bromwich Albion player into the path of Livermore, hence why it went in. But there have been times this season when FPL assists haven't been given. The one that stands out for me off the top of my head was Doherty got an assist for, he kicked the ball, it bounced off another player, and then one of his Spurs teammates put the ball in the back of the net. But then there was another incident, virtually exactly the same, but the assist wasn't given. It's a bit all over the place, these rules. It's a bit like the price changes. It's like 1 minute it's, yeah, prices are going up. The next minute it's nope, they're not going up at all.
Yeah, it is frustrating, like particularly being a Lamptey owner as well, with the rules and that. But that's just that's just the nature of the game, really. I thought you were going to compare it to the government COVID rules when you said these rules keep changing, but that will probably be a bit too topical for an FPL stream. But yeah, it can be annoying. But yeah, it's just the way the game goes.
Dan, can you do it for me? So this throws us back to I think it's the 90s. But I hope you're gonna do the joke with me. So, Mr. WhatsApp.
What's up?
Hey, there we are. That's what you come here for.
What is that for the Halloween?
But he's saying here that a lot of the experts are saying that they don't rate Bamford, but he's performed so well. Unfortunately, again, it's the classic thing, isn't it, Dan, of like the so-called experts or whatever you want to call it, read into the statistics and everything, suggesting that Bamford is outperforming. But people like me and you go, well, he's scoring goals, bring him in.
Yeah. You just look at the stats. I mean, he might not be doing Maradona twist turns. His name might not be Patricio Banfiladinho, but he got a hat trick against Villa. He scored away to Liverpool. You know, he scored at home to Fulham or whatever. So, like, come on, what do you expect? You know, he's kind of he's performing, and he's at 5.8. Leeds are, as I said at the start of the season, I think they're going to have a good season. They've got a fantastic manager. And he's playing in a team that's growing with confidence and doing very well.
Yeah, absolutely indeed. And Hatchup saying, Che Adams was my only return at this particular game week. Blimey. No disrespect, but your team must be terrible. But anyhow, he's the only return this week from a bit of a hidden gem, Dan. I don't know if he's a bit of a hidden gem, but certainly Adams is certainly someone to be looking at for 5.8, something like that. I can't remember specifically how much he is. I think it's 5.8.
Yeah. I mean, he as I said, I think even against Spurs, he came close to scoring, and he was the kind of assist man for Ings, and then role reversal, like I said before. But yeah, they kind of finished the last season quite well. So he's offering good value, really.
Final question for you, Dan. Maito is saying he has Calvert-Lewin and Ings, but he's thinking of bringing in Kane for one of them, or do you think it's better just to stick with DCL and Ings? What do you think on that, Dan?
I think, get Kane in, because Tottenham, they're picking the results up, and they've got some nice fixtures coming up. As we've said before, Son and Kane are linking up well. I think I would say DCL, actually, if you've got the funds to do it. Only because, of the injury, or the potential injury to James. I don't know what's going on with that at the moment. I know he's 75% like to play according to the game. Richarlison, suspension. So, I think upgrading to Kane makes a lot of sense. And you've got a good captaincy option for most game weeks as well, with some of the games they've got coming up as well.
Just a quick final note from me. So I got a respectable 62 points this week, but I'm still not even out of the 1 million club. I'm 1.3 million. And like certain players, like I was hoping like Zaha would get me out of there. Click, Foden, those three alone. I was thinking, do you know what? They're a bit differential, but unfortunately hasn't taken me out of the million club yet, which is very, very frustrating indeed. And on that note, everybody, myself and Dan are going to clear off. Dan, have you got any final thoughts before we go out into the sunset?
No, just obviously thanks for having us on again, and always good to come on. And hope everyone. It's the same thing I said last week. Hope everyone enjoys the Champions League, Europa League, if you've got to suffer it like we do. And look forward to the next game week, and see you all again soon. Yeah,
absolutely. Join myself. I don't even ask me when I'm going to be doing the preview. I honestly have no idea. I'm maybe even considering tying it in with Friday for the Friday deadline, but it'll be an afternoon show like we did before. So stay tuned for information over on at Elite FPL Stevo. That's right, follow me on Twitter instead, because essentially, without boring everybody, I basically cannot access the Elite FPL Twitter account anymore, or more to the point, I'm getting sick to death of being locked out of it, so I'd rather just use my own profile. But basically, follow me where you'll get all the information, but obviously follow us on Twitter at Elite FPL. What else is there? Oh yeah, I shouldn't be playing this, but should I play this? Let's give it a quick burst. It's just happened. Quite a few triple captaincy fails, but more importantly, can you guess the song in the background? Can you guess the song in the background? I'll probably be demonetised for that. Oh well, that's £1 down the drain. But Coolio 2 Thuts, thanks to him, has covered that point. But yes, if you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Hit the like button. If you're completely brand new around here, hit that sub button. Other than that, everybody, cheers, Dan.
Cheers, Steve-O. Cheers, everyone. Take care.
See you later, guys.